You know, the first Tuesday of every month we talk about ASEAN Affairs with the ASEAN Affairs publication, and I'm very pleased to welcome back to the program Vice President of Global Marketing, Mr. Daniel Schwartz. Daniel, a better year we hope than last year.
Oh, for sure. It's like I said, it's always a pleasure to be back here, and we're hoping that 2009 will be better than 2008 for sure.
From my point of view, it absolutely has to be. Daniel, if we look at the delay in the summit, I mean, everybody knows that there was a meeting in Indonesia, and then, of course, now we're hopefully getting a meeting here soon. But what's been the impact of that delay?
Well, as we talked about last time I was here, the summit was supposed to be mid-December, and it was going to be split between Chiang Mai and Bangkok, with the business portion happening in Bangkok and the government portion happening up in Chiang Mai. Well, with the problems and the political strife, that was all postponed, so there's now going to be a good chance it'll all be back in Bangkok, and the current incoming Prime Minister is saying we'll be ready at the end of January instead of the previous administration talking about being ready for March.
Yeah, I think sooner rather than later. Now, of course, the year of the Democrats, you just mentioned the Prime Minister. Is that what we're going to see? We're going to see a whole change, you think, in the political scene here?
As last month we were talking about the United States electing Barack Obama, a Democrat and Black American, to be the president. Now in the month of December, we see the new Prime Minister, Abhisit, is also a Democrat. So I guess 2008 leading into 2009 will be the year of the Democrat. We'll see. We hope we can get a stable government and
we hope we're going to last here as long as Obama's going to last in the States, but I'm not sure that's going to be the case. Now, the charter's been signed in Indonesia, so that was a great success. Where to from here, though, even with the summit coming up at the end of January?
Where to from here? As you stated, the charter was just signed in Jakarta at the ASEAN Secretariat office. Unfortunately, due to the situation, Thailand didn't get to host the signing. But what we'll see is now the emergence of a trade bloc. By 2015, an integrated trade bloc, very large, very powerful, in looking to something more than just a voice and a piece of paper. However, all is not rosy.
Well, it's going to be a bit difficult, isn't it? Because, I mean, we've got a number of issues. The economy's not helping, but also, I suppose, the rights issues too.
Yes, there's one of the parts of the charter that doesn't have that much teeth, doesn't have a lot into it, is how to deal with the human rights abuses. As we're well aware, one of the ASEAN members, Myanmar, is under sanctions from the U.S. and the EU, as the juntas kept the democratically elected leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, on house arrest for going on 18 years. So,
it's a long time, isn't it?
Yes, that's a long time. So we're hoping to see that the charter will actually be something that's used, and a chance that the human rights will be looked at, and we'll see democracy unfolding throughout the region.
Do you believe, I mean, democracy means different things to different people, and I think that's probably one of the messages we've got to the world. What is democracy in ASEAN? You know, it's not the same as democracy in the UK and democracy in the States.
And I think democracy, everybody has to find their own way. One of the things said by the head of ASEAN, Surin, said, democracy, it's a yo-yo in the system, and it's a yo-yo in the region. Some countries ahead, some countries behind. The ones that used to be ahead are now behind, and everybody has to find their own way. There is not one form of democracy.
And things are changing, and changing very quickly. I believe there were some other quotable quotes down from the Jakarta conference.
Yes, there were a few. Malaysia's trade minister said, as these agreements are integral to ASEAN's economic integration, the ASEAN economic ministers agreed to meet in Singapore to sign and have them enter into force as soon as possible. Another quote from the Singapore's Minister for Trade and Industry, we felt we should have a meeting, sign, and press on, because if they had postponed everything till the end of February, they lose 2 months. Indonesia's trade minister said, I think from an ASEAN perspective, it was important for us to ensure we do not experience any delays in the progress that we have achieved in terms of ASEAN economic community.
Now, what's the issue, the next issue of the publication? What's the story?
Our next issue, There's a copy of the cover because it's going to print right now. It's called Bad Loans Never Die, talking about the meltdown of the financial institutions and the huge bailouts that we're seeing across the world. You see the economic stimulus packages, you see the $700 billion US injection into the banking system to support what would have been failing banks. And most recently, we see the $17 billion lifeline passed to the 3 top US automakers to keep them from going into bankruptcy.
Is there more to come, you think?
Well, I think there's more to come. There's talk in the US, Obama having his economic team of $500 to $850 billion economic stimulus package. You see the same thing with the UK and elsewhere.
And it's all going to filter down because we're all interconnected now.
Correct. We're starting to feel the effects here in Thailand, for instance. I know several companies had huge investments from Lehman Brothers.
Yes, indeed.
And Lehman went bankrupt and they're not able to come through on their investments. But I think ASEAN is a little bit insulated from this. It's not as bad as we're seeing elsewhere. But low economics and less tourism dollars for travelers will have an impact on the region, which we
Certainly
will
will.
see.
Daniel, as always, thank you very much for joining us, and we look forward to hearing from you probably before the end of the month because of the summit. Thank you very much.
Very good. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to be here. See you next month.
Thank you.